thank you for joining Hawaii Wellness Network. And I'm very excited today. We have a kid co-host day with us. And this is going to be great practice so you can be like professional newscasters in the future. So very excited. There's a lot of talk out there. People have issues with their memory when they get a little bit older, and strokes and things that happen with your brain, and that's a very important piece of your body that you want to keep healthy. So thank you, Dr. Russo, for coming, and I'm understanding you're like one of the top experts in the States on neurofeedback and all these long words. So thank you for joining us. Would you like to introduce your co-host?
Yes, my youngest daughter, Adriana, 8 years old, assets. My oldest daughter, Sophia, 11 years old.
11. So you've been taking very good care of the brain.
I'm trying my best. And Assets is the school they go to. It's for gifted children, also for dyslexia. And Sophia has dyslexia. She also has some attention deficit disorder. And we've actually used some of the neurotherapies with Sophia. Yes. We've used the neurofeedback therapy.
So you work with children as, up through adults. It's anybody that, is maybe having some complications or,
yes.
Just with the brain and normal functioning of the body or learning.
Yes, as long as there's a brain that can interact, then we can work with it. Now, the older children, 5, 6, 7 years old enough, are far more easily able to be interactive with us. Because the neurofeedback requires that they concentrate on a computer program or on a TV program or a TV show of some sort. And that's what both of them do.
And how does a parent know that, maybe something could be improved, or they're actually getting very good grades and they're doing well, but they want to help them, give them tools to help them study, or just make things easier for them?
Well, neurofeedback is good for individuals who have healthy brains as well. Yes, please. What do you want?
So how does your dad work with you? Sometimes you say, "Oh, I'm having a hard time reading this page." So how would you help you?
And do I help you with your homework?
Yeah. Does he
Yes,
teach you different tools on how to read, like different ways, or does he have equipment in his office that he helps you with? Or
this is all like, oh well, that's anything.
And what grade are you in? So do you ever go into his office? And just different techniques with you?
They spend a lot of time with me in my office. I think sometimes more time than they wish they would spend it in the doctor's office. So they're learning how I take care of patients, how I see patients, and hopefully someday, maybe, they'll be taking care of patients themselves.
And it's very important to do stretching and neck massaging. Does that help your brain work? Getting oxygen up there? or it's fun? It's fun to do it. Because it's fun. And when did you start? It's Hawaii Pacific DEEG.
Correct. DEEG stands for Dense Array Electroencephalography. Now, encephalography is the same technique that one would use to measure the electrical output from the brain, the signals from the brain, just like one measures it from the heart in an EKG. The EKG, they put a few leads on the chest, and you look at the screen, and you see the line, and you go bleep, bleep, bleep. That's the EKG. The EEG is where you measure bleeps from the brain.
Okay. I did not know that.
They have to travel all the way through the skull, then through the skin, and through the hair, and then we have little microphones that pick up the signals.
They can like stick things on their head.
Well, little like suction cups, little tiny little sponges that are soaked in salt water solution. They sit right on your scalp. You end up almost looking like an octopus just grabbed your head when you take off the microphones. Now, they don't hurt,
It's nice information.
It is important information.
And it's probably easier for your dad because he doesn't have any hair that they have to get through.
Well, I have a thicker scalp.
Suction cups on my head.
Have you done that before? Have you had that tested?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like, whoa.
It's interesting, the signals can make it through the skull, the scalp, the hair, but they can't make it through hair conditioner.
So do you tell people that when they come in? Is there guidelines like don't wash your hair?
Don't have conditioner in your hair.
Okay.
No product in your hair.
No gel and stuff.
Correct. So the contacts have to be directly onto the scalp. And we use salt water solution, and that acts as an electrolyte, and that allows the transmission of the impulses from the brain right into the computer. We collect there are 256 channels that can be totally collected. The standard is 24, or the best here in Hawaii for the scalp is 32 channels. Now we collect 128 channels of information. That allows overlap coverage of all over the brain, including from underneath. And then we can take that information and transform it into a model of the thought processes of the brain while the brain is thinking. And it's so incredibly intense that you can get left-hand side of the brain versus right. You can see the person doing mathematics as we ask them to solve mathematics programs, formulas in their head. You can see the brain working on mathematics.
So when you have them hooked up, then you have activities for them, and then you watch the computer screen on how things are functioning, so then you can see the imbalance.
Yes. We can ask them to do math. We ask them to do hyperventilation. That brings in more oxygen to the brain. Photic, we flash lights in their eyes. We ask them to sit quietly, eyes open, eyes closed, which allows different signals into the eyes. The brain responds differently to all of these. And we can measure left, right, front, back. We can take a look at the various frequencies, slow versus fast. It's just an enormously powerful tool to look at the actual thinking brain. So if somebody has epilepsy, for example, or seizure disorders, we can actually pinpoint where the source of the seizure may be coming from. Whereas the 32 channels, it's not a dense enough coverage. It's a sparse array rather than a dense array. So if the source of the seizure is coming from someplace where there's no electrode, you don't spot it. So I end up seeing patients who had normal study. We do the dense array DEEG, and we find all sorts of things. It's like looking at something with a telescope instead of looking at it with sunglasses on. Really?
I can see their brains are really low. Are you guys want to continue your kid co-hosting day, or? Oh no. You guys want to continue the kids co-hosting day? Sit in the same chair?
Sure.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to add?
I was going to
Well, this is it. Good.
This is your
Smile.
opportunity. So is there anything you want to tell kids out there if they're like having a hard time and they're frustrated, like they
know
can't
about diabetes and stuff. Know about diabetes.
Well,
It's probably not about the brain though.
no, you could talk with them about your experiences, say, with neurofeedback. You have had a lot of neurofeedback.
Okay, so what they do is they stick like these things on your head, and then you get this computer and play games with like, if you're like frustrated, like in a video game, you have a car that's moving, and then when you get mad and you're frustrated, the car slows down, and when your car goes fast. Yes.
So it doesn't hurt kids. So they shouldn't be scared. It's like a kind of a
It's
fun,
like a
like a game.
It's like a game that you're controlling.
Your brain, with your mind.
That's really nice.
Where's your brain? Okay. That's right. Perfect. Absolutely.
And the right side is responsible for the creative and the,
Yes, but creativity, we're talking generalities.
yes, because there's lots of different bits and pieces everywhere in ours.
Yes.
There's also different parts of it.
Cerebellum, yes. Where's your cerebellum? That's right. That's the cerebellum is in the back of the brain. What's it used for?
I don't know. Just know where it is.
Well, it's good to know where it is at your age. That's superb. A lot of it is used for balance, fine motor movements.
Oh yeah, it's just to stand up and stuff. If you didn't have that,
You
you'd
follow?
lay it on the ground and like,
Right, all over. That's right.
So if a child's like dizzy or having
there's probably something wrong with your cerebellum.
So your dad could do the little test and see
What's wrong with it?
Yes, exactly. You're pretty good. So that's excellent. It's just a bunch of but that's fine. It's still with you.
We're still going.
Oh.
Good thing. It's like a little test.
Exactly.
What's
That you
going on
notice.
here?
Everything is still going on.
In generality, the left side is more for technical, like math and
It's language, analysis. It's more the left-hand side. And the motor control, left-hand side of the brain controls the motion, usually the right-hand side of the
I
body.
have something to say.
Oh, please, go ahead.
Yeah, like the thing that do stuff on like sticky wood when they get it that has like a lot of it's not good. It was feedback and we used to hold these like bottle things that were glass and they had like on them and we used to like stick out our arm and then the other person pushes your arm down to see if you're alive.
So can you can work with allergies or if there's things going on with the brain or maybe a traumatic experience when they had a certain food and it's triggering something or
Well, I work with anxieties. I work with patients who have obsessive compulsions, patients who have seizures, strokes, brain tumors, multiple sclerosis, a variety of different brain disorders, because the brain itself generates the mind. The mind is what we use to communicate with each other, to look at ourselves. But the mind can also change the way the brain thinks. And that's the purpose of the neurofeedback, is to help the mind change the brain's own structure to generate a more healthy mind.
because we all know that we have these. I have something about a dishwasher, and I'd like it to be loaded. I mean, we all have our, we call it OCD things, and so my friends, I like to reload, and I like it to be a certain way, and I go, then my friends notice that we load the dishwasher. I think we all have our little crazy little things.
Eccentricities.
Yes,
Everybody
exactly.
has their eccentricities.
So you know if that's extreme, and that you might be able to help with something that's more extreme than that.
Yes, and usually the guideline is whether they are functional within society and functional within the culture. So if your obsession, say, with loading dishwashers is to point to show up at everybody's house and
Right.
load their dishwasher, that might be considered dysfunctional within
Right.
some groups.
Yes.
But if it's your own at
I
home,
have a couple friends and they deal with it, something. They don't like, oh, whatever. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, it doesn't like hurt my life or anything.
then it's socially acceptable, it's within the norms, and it's not particularly a disorder.
So it's a good guideline.
It is. That's good.
So you work with the hospitals and the doctor's offices, so somebody comes in and instead of, having them put on medication, you can at least find the root cause.
The patients I like to work with here in Hawaii have a philosophy similar to my own, which is try to find the root of the problem rather than try to paper over or paint over the problem with the use of medicines. So patients here are not particularly coming in and asking for more and more medicine. They don't expect to walk out of the office with a script, as in some cases. They want to know why they're having a problem, and that's what I want to know also. So if I could find out why they have it, then I could help fix the problem itself without having to throw medicine at it.
And I would guess there's a lot of people that come in that have tried other means and they're a little frustrated because they're not really getting the answers. So you're kind of the answer man to let them know where everything's coming and give them some tools.
Right. I mean, my job is to try to help where others may not have succeeded with patients who found it difficult to find the answers. So I'm not a hospital-based doctor. I don't work out of Queens, Castle, Stroud. I work out of my own office for the patients who want to come to me to receive a specific type of care.
And how would someone get a hold of you? They maybe have some things going on that they're a little concerned about, maybe dizzy or walking, or they had a stroke, or maybe someone's in their life that did, all of a sudden their behavior's a little different and they can't pinpoint what's going on.
Well, they call my office if they wish, which is 808-294-3332. That is asked by one of my secretaries. We'll be happy to make an appointment to have whoever come on in, we'll take a look at them, talk with them, and see whether or not there's any way that we can help them. Now, I do have a website that individuals could go to. That's www.hawaiipacificdeeg.com. And that website talks about the technology. And this DEEG machine is only one of about half a dozen in the United States. It's the only one in the Pacific. It's the only one in Hawaii. And it's a very, very advanced technology. And that's why I'm so happy to be able to bring it here. I'm so happy to be able to use it.
It's very needed.
It is, and it requires a great deal of technical expertise and knowledge about the machine to be able to use.
So you do, and how long does the test run take? A few hours? Or?
No, it's 1 hour. It takes about half hour to set up, an hour, a little bit more to run the test. And during the test, we have 5 minutes worth of mathematics, 5 minutes worth of photic stimulation, maybe flash a strobe light, a few minutes worth of hyperventilation. Then we have the patient sleep. We look at the transition from wake to sleep, because during that transition, a lot of brain activities change. And brain activities during sleep are very different than brain activities during wake. And so there may be the opportunity for pathologies to show themselves during sleep where they might not during wake. And so much is completed.
And that's another question. If someone's sleeping 10 hours a day but they're still tired, can you determine, if they're not getting into all the levels of sleep, or if their brain's overworking, or something's going on during their sleep that might be creating something, because they should be rested after that much?
If they're spending 10 hours of time in bed and they're still not feeling rested, there's definitely something that needs to be looked at. Yes, Sophie.
I can be in my sleep and I prefer
Well, children need more sleep than adults. Children need 10 to 12 hours of sleep, not just 10 to 12 hours.
Listen, I got enough sleep because I have suspension.
Well, children have a different need for sleep because your brains are growing. Now, the purpose of sleep is really to consolidate all of the information that you're taking in. When you're in school, you're taking in a whole lot of information. That information, well, like all the teachers teaching you stuff, it's all new to you.
And today, and right now, you're learning something new, how a TV show works and how to talk on the TV and everything's working with everything.
Right, you're going to be very, very fatigued and tired at the end of this because of all of the information that's coming into you.
I'm already tired and I'm not even doing anything.
That's because your brain is functioning. Your brain is working very hard at this moment. And when you sleep tonight, your brain is going to take all the information that you go into today, including everything that happened at school, and it's going to take it and it's going to cull the unnecessary stuff, throw it out, consolidate the important stuff, package it, put it away in your brain for you to use tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day.
Freaking out.
She's just paying attention. Oh,
She's processing.
right. Processing is what happens during the sleep.
Well, this will really help a lot of kids. I'm sure some children watching can help them with studying. You definitely want to get as much as you can out of school.
The most important thing is to get the kids to bed early. Get them to sleep. And if somebody is spending an adult 10 hours of time in bed, and they're still feeling sleepy the next day, they may not be sleeping during that 10 hours of time in bed.
Right.
And you may not even know it, because you have to be awake for about 30 seconds before your brain knows it's awake, before the memory of being awake is consolidated. So say you're waking up for 20 seconds out of every minute, or 30 seconds out of every minute, and you're in bed for 8 hours, really falling asleep, only sleeping 4 out of those 8 hours.
And then you might not be getting into all the different levels of sleep during the night that you're supposed to.
Correct.
People aren't going to feel confident.
Correct, because the brain is restarting itself back from the beginning again. Every time it tries to get into a deeper level of sleep, you wake up, goes back to the start, starts working its way through again, and you never fully process everything you need processing. So you wake up in the morning feeling unrested. That's what we do.
It's a major problem right now, especially when you're a lot of my friends in their 40s and 50s and up, sleeping issues, or not, decompressing before they go to bed and what they're eating, and there's a lot. Oh, did you have something?
Yes.
See, her brain's already thinking about what we're going to do after the show. So that's a talent to think about what we're doing in the moment, and then also like that. And isn't that how your brain works? It kind of flip-flops back and forth. What are we doing now? What can I say? What am I going to say in an hour? And tomorrow I got to do laundry. And
She has a good vision of the future. She could look into the
That's
future.
what my friend said. She's all like, oh, well, yeah, I really have vision of the future.
And I'd like to add that Sophia's hair is not always pink. Adriana's
dyed
hair
it.
is not always turquoise. This was special hair day.
I've done it.
So-
It was colorful.
It was colorful hair day.
How do you know that
That's
first day?
fantastic.
No, it was rainbow.
Rainbow
I'm gonna go back to
day.
detention
well, it sounds like a
again.
really fun school that you've come at. I don't remember being able to curl my hair.
Accents is one of the most excellent schools on the island. They have a very, very good ratio of teachers to students. So the students really get a lot of attention. And I think sometimes more attention than the students would like to be getting. If there are 20 or 30 students in a class, the teacher doesn't necessarily focus on each one of them as they do if there were 5 or 6 students per teacher. I think the ratio of assets is 1 teacher for about 6 students. So they're always under the microscope, which means that they're learning at a much greater intensity. So they need even more sleep at night.
Yes. Well, you're gonna sleep good tonight. Well, thank you for coming on, and you'll also be in the next magazine. So we're really excited.
Are we in the magazine?
Your father is with his business to help people with their mind.
Yes, Neurology, Hawaiian Pacific, DEEG.
Great. Thanks for coming on, and thanks to our co-hosts for helping out and talking to all the kids out there.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Adriana.
Bye. See you next week.
Bye. Wait, bye-bye.